This is the focus, right?
No, that's like to change the film inside so you can take it.
Yeah, I think it's autofocus because I don't
It's
know.
autofocus.
Yeah, I can barely, but you can barely tell. I think you can barely tell between like yours. See, yeah, you just got it, yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, and then you got one again, yeah. So, all right.
Even if it's not in focus, like
Yeah, I don't know how it works.
It'll work out.
It'll
I'm
work
like,
out.
you know what? It just work out. You know, I get a little.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We got a special guest today. Madeline Pierre is in the building. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Glad to be on your podcast.
I'm glad I say got on the podcast. You know, got to make a change of heart. It was tough at first, you know, but we made it happen. Pastor Stanley is not here. He's actually downstairs working on Anchor. I think by the time you guys see this, Anchor probably will be over. But for the sake of saying it, tune into the Anchor podcast. Turn it to Anchor and tune into Anchor podcast. Yeah, man, I'm excited. How you feel for real? I'm about to say it's been I'm about to say summer's almost over, bro. When do you go back again?
2 days.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm about to say. So all right, let's start with you. Obviously you're going into your sophomore year at Andrews. How has that experience been so far for you as just a life, anything in general, like the people? How is that spirituality? What does it look like over there at Andrews? Talk to me about it.
Andrews is like what you make it. Like it has like it's the #1 most diverse school.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
So it's like it's not just diverse in like cultures and ethnic groups, but it's really diverse in like different people.
Yeah.
So no matter your vibe, you're gonna find someone there that's exactly like you.
I'm about to say.
So like that's exactly kind of what I did. Is I went in there expecting to branch out a lot, but you naturally gravitate towards people who are like similar to you in different areas. So like that was good that you have like your friends, your close friends that you can just feel at home with, but as well as like be in class with like every other person that like different beliefs, different ideologies, different upbringings, and then you could just like be friends with them as well.
I'm about to say.
That was a cool, interesting thing because obviously in the DMV we all have like this kind of community. We all
everybody know everybody here.
We know the same stuff. We listen to the same music. It's like the same like people you're around, which is good like village to grow up with. But over there it's different, and you get to like branch out a little bit.
I'm about to say.
But also like when it comes to spirituality, it's like. You kind of go expecting that, like, oh, it's going to help my spiritual life so much. Like, I don't have to, like, be so intentional because it might just be right in front of me, which is true. But when it comes to anything, like, you really have to be intentional. Like, no matter what, like even though there's so many opportunities, different churches, different programs and stuff to get connected to God, it's so easy to also be like, I'm so tired, I don't want to go to church. Or like, I don't want to go do this, or this isn't really speaking to me. Like, you still have to be intentional in your own, like, little conversations with God, devotions with God, because it's just as easy to, like, not pay attention to God as it is to pay attention to God. You just have to choose.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I know because you guys have credits too at as far as you get certain worship credits at Andrews too. Like, how is that? I talked to certain people when I went down there. They were like, "Oh yeah, bro, I finished my worship credits. I'm chilling out. I'm gonna stay in the dorm. Like, I'm chilling." Or like some people like they were behind in their credits and stuff like that.
Right.
So how do you feel like that was as far as that? Like, did you feel like it helped you keep it consistent? As far as that?
I feel like their credits, the one thing I'll give them is like their credits are not as like strict and restrictive as other schools. Like I'm not gonna shout them out, but like I've talked to my friends from other Adventist schools, and they have like numbers like 60 credits or 45 credits, and ours is like 30.
Yeah.
But it's 30 credits and not pertaining to worship. Only there are some vespers and stuff you always get credit if you go. You don't get credit for church, which I give them because I think that should be a choice that you want to go to church. Not like, oh, I'm going to church for this. At this point, we're adults.
I'm about to say that's
we get it for like assemblies and like weekly chapels, which is like the hardest one because they have like a specific category for that. But the other credits are super easy to get. Like, there's like ones for like residence life, and they'll have like a few things every week where it's like it'll be like a 30-minute mental health check in your dorm, which is so easy to get. Or like another one is like a crochet with your friends, and I'll just get my guys, my guy friends and my girls, and we'll just go and crochet for 30 minutes and get our credit. So it's like if you're intentional about it, like it's another thing to be annoying about, but as a freshman, it's easy. It's like it's actually helpful because it'll get you out. It'll get you doing stuff. Yeah.
But I think a lot of times people like, they make excuses, like especially because like, oh, it's in the middle of nowhere. Oh, I have something to do. But I feel like I feel like you have to make it like the most of your opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm about to say. That's what's up. I'm about to say.
What about you in WAU?
I mean, I'll say, okay, so I think we probably, as far as credits wise, we kind of have it the best as far as everyone knows, honestly, like, because we only do Wednesday chapel, and then that's the only one that's required. And then Friday night Vespers is like, that one is, they have that one, but it's not required either, because like everyone commutes for real. So it's like, no one's really there as much. So really they only require Wednesday chapel. I'm not sure if it's going to be different this year. But I would say, yeah, it's not even like we just scan the QR code and then we go there. I think you have to get like 80%. You have to go to convocation 80% of the time. Otherwise, I think it's like I don't know, like something with like either you get a fine or something with your graduation. I don't know. I was like, bro.
Wow.
So, but yeah, so that's what they got so far over there. So I mean, I would say me, especially because I commuted throughout the year. I mean, it wasn't necessarily like the hardest, you know. It wasn't really like the most exciting either. But I went to them and they're pretty cool, you know. I think only thing was probably just, I don't know. I would say, I wouldn't say it was the worst, but it's just like, I don't know, like compared to everyone else, and they talk about their credits, it's like, oh dang, like we kind of have it completely different, you know. So it's like, especially it's completely different for you, of course, because you're out of state too. And I think you brought something up as well that I wanted to piggyback on was like the culture over there versus like here. Like it seemed like it's way different. Like even like
It is.
yeah, like even talking to Darius, like he was telling me like yeah, like the way we act in the DMV, like it's like some of those things is like it might be seen as something like completely different, like in Michigan, like.
Yeah, it's a different vibe, but the thing about Andrews is like it's not a Michigan school. Like
Yeah.
it is in Michigan, but the majority of people are not from Michigan.
Yeah.
So like I think honestly it depends on who you're interacting with. Like the overall vibe is not at all like the way I grew up, right?
Right.
It's like this, you know, it's a different Adventist community. And that's one aspect of it, but also like it depends who you're with. Like we got people like a group from Toronto I'm close with.
Yeah.
They have their own little vibe. There's
Do
like
they have an
a
accent?
few,
Be honest, do the accent.
yeah, it's a little goofy, but you know, I always tell them about it though. So.
Right.
But it's like you have people from different areas, and it just depends on who you surround yourself with. I feel like I gravitate towards people like that I can be myself around.
Yeah.
But you know, even like when I hang out with people like who are very different from me, it's like cool to just interact with them that way, just see like how like we grew up so different and how we can still relate in different ways.
I'm about to say, yeah, because I mean, I think that's the point of going to college too, because you want to experience different people. You don't want to just go and see the same type of people. Obviously, again, like you do want a space to kind of have to, you want to have space to have like where you can be yourself, of course. But at the same time, in the real world, it's kind of tough to be like all the time, you know, because it's just like, yeah, no, I would say, no, I completely agree with you on that part. So I was gonna say as well too. You talked about the worship experience, stuff like that, and you guys went like, did you feel like was it one of those things where like you were super excited to go, or was it like I'm just getting out the way?
Okay, so it depends on like what I'm going to. What I think it's important to do is like those credits can get annoying at the end of the semester.
Word.
So like I remember like being kind of like scared about it and like going to all of them at the beginning.
Word.
Which is honestly the best thing to do. Like if you go to your credits at the beginning, then by the end you're chilling. Especially when it comes to finals and you're getting tired, you don't have to go to anything. You know, like so that's like the best. Like if you get it all out when you have energy at the beginning of the semester.
Yeah.
But like depends on the vespers or the worship or the little activity I'm going to. Majority of them, if I'm being honest, I'm not excited. But they're not. Most of them are not like crazy. Like I'm dreading. Like most of them I'm not dreading. But some of them, like the vespers ran by the BFCF. It's like our Black student Christian forum, like our Black club on campus.
Like,
they run like a vespers like almost every Friday night.
Okay.
And it's like really exciting. Like people just come out. All the graduate students will go there. Like we'll all go there to Impact. Impact
was the best.
And it's
Impact
like it's a cool vibe there. And like we go even when we have our credits done. So that's like a thing we just go because we want to. Yeah, so they have different things like that we just go because we just want to vibe.
Nah, Impact, especially when I went down, Impact was tough. I ain't gonna lie. Like I know, like I guess like the first time I was able to go, I wasn't able to go, and they were all telling me like, oh, you should went to Impact, you should went this and stuff like that. And even like when I went, it was like, oh yeah, bro, like you think this is tough? This wasn't even the best one. I was like, no way, like that's kind of tough. And I think that's it's important because like you definitely need to have those spaces where it's like, all right, everyone's. I mean, not necessarily people are looking forward to it, but it's like people are excited. Like you know what, our Impact's gonna be good. I know that for sure. You know, like because even I was talking to some of my friends at different schools, right? And they were telling me, right, like with some of their worst credits, they were like the good ones were less credits, right, and the bad ones were not necessarily like they're good or bad, you know, but like the tiresome ones were more credits. And when they would get to the good ones, they were kind of drained already, so it's like it's kind of tough. But I definitely say though, like that's good that you guys have your own thing going on at Impact, especially there's probably good credits as well.
Right.
All right, so important question I forgot to ask you. We're talking major. How has your major been going as far as that journey, and as far as EMT work? What does that look like for you so far?
Yeah, so I am a biochemistry major pre-med right now with a minor in French.
Okay.
The goal is to be a doctor. Who knows what kind of doctor yet? But like so far, like in high school, you know, I've been an EMT, got my little certification, and like was riding on the ambulance, and that was mainly to see, like, to see if I could do that, and then also it's like to see if I liked medicine, because a lot of people will wait until they like go through 4 years of undergrad, and then they do, you know, the 4 years of medical school, and then that's when they really get the hands-on experience. Yeah. And it's like you just did you did almost 8 years of school. Before you even see if you like it. So I was not gonna wait until that to see. So that's why I was like, let me see if I can really get hands-on experience like in the medical field. So that experience only confirmed that I was interested. So that is why I'm on the path I'm in like right now, like pre-med, because working in the ambulance was like a really interesting experience, and it's something like I really was drawn to. Like, you know, when you're kind of good at something or you enjoy something. And then like right now I have a job as a nurse technician in the hospital. Okay. So that's like a part-time job I can actually work and get money from while I'm in college. Like you can't really work on the ambulance like at an actual fire department. Without it being like 24/7. You know what I mean?
About you know, you were telling me,
it's like a 24-hour like shift and stuff like that, which is not possible if you're in college and you're doing a full time.
I know, because you were telling me one time, I think junior or senior year, I forgot what time it was, but like you were telling me there was one point where you were like going, like you were waking up at like 2 a.m, like and then going to school, right? Like how was that?
That was rough, but that's like because when I did my EMT, I did it with the volunteer fire company. So it's really cool. It's like you don't get paid, but mind you, they're training you the whole way for free. And it's like they're helping you, they're supporting you, and then they don't expect you to have to work for them afterwards. Because it's volunteers, you just keep volunteering for them. It was very beneficial for me, but like in order to get it, my certification, you have to have hours, you have to get like a number of calls that you've led, and like your little like, you know, tracking it and like doing documentation, so you have to be at the station for a certain amount of time. And so like I remember like I kind of procrastinated a little bit. And when it came down to like the last 2 months, I was like, I need to get my calls. And for some reason, they used to call me the white cloud, because every time I went to the station and I needed calls, we would get like no usable calls, which is like the ones we need to transfer. So I remember like I would just be there all the time. Sometimes I'd go until like maybe 5 a.m. in the morning. Like I'd go there from it's normally like a 12-hour shift, but they let me like have leeway because I'm at school. So I'd go from like 7 p.m. to like 5 a.m. and then like I'd go home and like shower, get ready for school. And
that's tough.
It was like honestly my fault because I needed to cram last minute.
So you really procrastinated. So that's why you felt like it would have been better if you didn't procrastinate.
Like they gave me like 10 months to get all the calls, and I was trying to get it done in like 2 months.
So
that's my fault. But it was honestly a good experience. Like it really tested me like with like stress and like staying up all night and doing all this different stuff. But like because I did that junior year and I was writing senior year, when it came to like what I'm doing now, like freshman year of college, like I can work a 12-hour shift at night
Yeah.
and then go to class the next day.
Okay.
Because I had that like kind of prior experience, even though in the station you can sleep, which is not what you can do at work. Like,
you can't really do that.
Yeah. It's like harder work for sure, but it's like at least I had like some prep before I
I'm about to say
into that. Yeah.
I would say too though, do you feel like, could you imagine yourself doing EMT work senior year though? I feel like that would be crazy.
Yeah, I would, but it would be, I don't know. We'll see what's gonna happen.
No, I'm saying in high school. Like, would you be able to do that EMT work in high school, so your senior year instead of junior year? Do you feel like that would be tougher?
Like what? Like doing? I mean, honestly, junior year for me was harder.
You feel like junior year was harder than senior year?
Yeah. For
Ooh, this is the debate I have with my friends all the time. 'Cause I don't know. I feel like
senior year I was relaxing.
No, actually no, but too, you had, and that is true though, because you were taking classes, like, you were even taking the advanced math. I think you had a lot of stuff going on your junior year, and that's why you had an easier senior year.
Okay, was it easy? No, but was it easier? Yes, because I still was doing like AP classes. And
Yeah,
stuff.
I say.
But like, I wasn't worried about SATs. We had already applied like at the beginning of the year for like, you know, colleges and all that stuff. And then honestly by the end we were just chilling. Like as a seniors, like was it tougher? I don't know if it was tougher. I think junior year was tougher for me because maybe I just had too much stuff going on.
Yeah, but I say, and you were still taking like online classes, especially, and that probably is tough doing that and the EMT. So I mean that makes sense. I feel like, cause I'm looking at it now, junior year versus senior year, I feel like. Okay, well, I think I didn't have that many classes senior year.
Mm-hmm.
I think senior year was just tougher outside of school. But junior, I think for sure, junior year was kind of hectic because I feel like we were all coming back from COVID. That was the thing too.
That's very true.
Yeah, like we were all coming back from COVID, and it was just like weird, especially seeing everybody like just adjusting to everything that's going on.
Right.
And like even like I ain't gonna lie, the one class too, like physics, bruh. Remember we had that class together, bruh? That was crazy.
Yeah.
How did you like that class looking back at it? 'Cause I feel like you were like the only girl in the class. Like that was
actually an insane experience. And it's because it was my fault too, because I took a science early. So by the end of it, I thought, like I'm gonna be done with science.
Oh.
Right? Because I actually got 5 credits for science for high school, which
Oh,
is
wow.
like, why did I have to do that? But they kind of made me take physics because it was either that or take AP Bio.
You didn't want to take AP.
And I took AP Bio my senior year with my friends. So like that was why I just.
Oh, you wouldn't do it your senior year.
And they were like, then you have to take a science this year. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll do physics. And it was like nobody else, no other girl except for this one online girl.
No, but she was all on good.
But I just did physics again in like this summer, like
Yeah.
physics 1 and physics 2 in college, and it's just completely different.
What would you say the difference is? Because
We actually learned.
we actually learned.
But also it was like, I don't know, like it was an actual class. Like honestly, our physics class in high school was more devotion.
Yeah.
It was
facts.
devotion 90% of the class, and then physics the last 10%.
Yeah, shout out Palmer. I was about to say, because I know I was talking to Micah too, and that teacher, he actually does a Bible class now at TA.
So that makes sense.
I was about to say, because really, like half the class be devotional, and the other class would be like, we do something on our phones or something like that, or be like something on our. We do like online work. It was like, I don't know, yeah. That was an interesting class to say the least. I would say it was definitely tough. I did want to ask, I guess because I just want to talk about a couple of things going on currently. Elections. What do you thinking elections wise? Because now we got recapping. Cause episode 1 we talked about Biden and Trump, but now Biden is out, and we got Kamala, we got Trump. So how do you feel about it? I'm not gonna ask you who you're voting for. I'm not gonna ask you who you're voting for. But you think you already know you're voting for?
Yeah, but I think the thing about the election is like, honestly, like you gotta look at policies. Like personality and like the person who you're voting for is very important.
Yeah.
That's very true. But you also really need to look at the policies and like the people behind the person running for president, because like overall you're voting for a government. You're voting for like a whole team to be put in place.
Yeah.
So whatever you choose, you really have to look at like who are the people behind them, what are the goals that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So like even if one presidential candidate might say, oh, it's one thing, like I won't do this, or I don't, I'm not pushing for this. If you look at the people behind them, they might be pushing for that.
Word.
So it's like,
yeah.
it's kind of like if you see what happened like in our country, like in the past few like years, like the people that you voted in have consequences years and years later on.
Facts.
So it's like, if you just look at the policies, I feel like whatever aligns with your personal beliefs and my beliefs as a Christian, that's who I'm gonna vote for.
Facts. I like that. I'm about to say. Yeah, no, I definitely, because me and my friends have been talking about this a lot, I think this election is definitely, it's tough, but I think for sure, like you were saying, what goes with the beliefs, stuff like that, because, it's gonna be a tough decision regardless, but I think for sure, like, I'm already knowing, like, how it's gonna go anyway, so I think, yeah, it's gonna be tough, but I don't want to stress myself out too much about it, especially because it's gonna be my first year voting, so it's, yeah, I'm about to say, I definitely know for sure I'm voting, though. I don't want to be one of those people that like skip voting. I think everyone should definitely consider voting,
Right.
because I don't know, like, I feel like, I think I was talking about this with my friends too, like we definitely had, like, we weren't able, like, literally people fought for us to vote, like, it's important, like, it's kind of important to vote, so
Exactly.
I think for sure. And then, other thing I want to talk about was the Olympics. Have you been paying attention to the Olympics?
I have
now that it's
been.
over.
I have been. I was in Thailand for a little bit while I was going on.
Oh,
so,
vacation, we gotta
the
talk about that.
times were it wasn't vacation, but it was like a cool experience for sure.
Cool experience.
But the Olympics are interesting. Like, America's always gonna be on top. No matter
I'm gonna say something. One time we're gonna be patriotic,
Yeah, like I never had pride in America, like never. But when I watched the Olympics, yeah, I was certain.
I'm gonna say the one time I went there, I'm gonna say, because you never see me like wear an American flag or anything like that. But the one time, the Olympics come around, I'm gonna say for sure. I know for me personally, like, one time, like, I was watching USAV, right? Like, basketball, and like, I was at work, right? I was at the GC, and like, I was talking to one of my coworkers, right? I think we were on the Teams call, and he was just showing me how to do something. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure you understand what I'm like, what I'm getting at." And I was like, "Yeah, bro." And I'm like, but the whole time I'm on my phone, I'm watching Steph go crazy. I'm like, "Yeah, bro." Like, I don't even, like, the game was even just like, I think the whole Olympics and what it was about, like, it was just crazy. Like, like that whole experience. I don't know, especially compared to the last Olympics, like, when it was COVID, like, even getting to see it for real, like, actually paying attention to it, it seems crazy. Like, and I heard the new ones in LA.
I know, it's like actually all over. Like, it's all over, like, Canada, USA, and Mexico, but a lot of it's gonna be in LA. It's like,
where it's all over?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, that's what's up.
They have like different events at different places.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, I know some of the places, like, they have, like, they certain water activities they do at different places, right?
Yeah. Exactly like that.
I was about to say, that's what's up. As far as everything that's been going on for you, right? Obviously, again, like, going to your sophomore year, we know it's going to be tougher. Obviously, like I said, like, your major has definitely tested you to see if you really want it or not. Where do you feel like it's going to get you through all those sufferings and stuff like that? Like, what do you really feel like is going to keep you mentally locked into those sufferings, really?
Right. That's a good question. I feel like when it comes to, like, stress, anxiety, and feeling overwhelmed, I feel like the little things and the little experiences, like, will see, like, it will basically show you how you will react to the big experiences.
Facts.
And I feel like God does that intentionally. Like for me, I'm like, he also shows me, like, a lot of things through the little experiences. Like, for me, like, I was training to be, like, the nurse tech at the hospital.
Yeah.
And it was a very part-time job. Like, I got the job, I was super excited because it's a job that I can choose when I want to work. And I don't have, like, a big requirement to work this many hours per week. It's more flexible. I only have to work a small amount of time during a 6-week period. So it's very flexible, and it was like a job I was like really interested in, and the pay was good for Michigan. So I was like, this is God, thank you.
Yeah.
But then I didn't realize that to train we had to work full time.
Oh, word.
Right? So it's like, mind you, I took a week off of school to train, like, just for during the daytime. And then after that, I had to get, like, clinical, like working on the floor.
Oh, wow.
Whereas I was just getting trained, like, I had to work 3 times a week, which was like 3 12-and-a-half-hour shifts.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy, because, like, you kind of, when you work at, like, all night and you gotta go to class, all you want to do after class is sleep. But then you have, like, homework and stuff. So then you have to, like, do your homework or, like, sleep, wake up, and then as soon as you recover and get a good night's sleep, then you have to go back to work again. And you like go like, you know, like a good like 36, 48 hours without sleeping, and then you're like, okay, like that type of like stress and like, you know, like you get like super stressed and super tired. Like I feel like that's something that it's like one of those trials that God will put in your life to make you stronger. Because like I know for a fact that I could not have gone through that and gotten the grades I've gotten without God, right?
I'm about to say, yeah, exactly.
Because there was like a midterm I took during that time too.
I'm about to say the midterms are crazy where they hurt too, right?
I didn't study. It was for the hardest class, biology.
Oh,
so it's like I thought, and then when I looked at my grade, it was like it was slightly lower than I normally would get.
Slightly lower. Okay.
Way better than I expected though, because I didn't study for it.
Okay.
So I was like, that's disappointing, but you know, I thank God that I got that. But then it turns out like later on, because I know the graders, they were telling me like, you got one of the highest scores in class.
Oh wow.
Mind you, like that is only because of God. Like certain things, it's like God will take where you are, which is like maybe down here, like you maybe are guessing, and God will bring you up like higher than what you expect. So it's like the trust that you have in Him then. Like if I'm able to trust Him then when I'm not stressed out, like I'm super stressed out, I'm super tired, I'm super like overwhelmed, and like honestly, the work I was doing too was super draining.
Word.
Because I'm used to being an EMT like basic level, which is we're helping people who need to go to the hospital, but the majority of the time they're not about to die unless they're like right around their station.
Yeah.
So I've had calls like very critical, but majority of them are not. So the people I'm with, like I don't see a lot of death on the ambulance.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, in my community that I work for. But when I was transferring to the hospital, I work in the medical oncology unit.
Okay.
So it's the people who are super sick.
Oh.
And when it comes to death, that was the first time I really had to deal with that, like that death.
Sure.
Right?
How was that?
And that was really rough, because especially, mind you, you're not sleeping. And you have like, you know, all these like really hard like chemistry, biology, all these classes that people are struggling with. And then you're just trying to get trained. And then you have like something super like emotionally draining like this, like a death. And like, all the family members.
And do you feel like responsible about it?
No, I don't feel responsible for it, because like it's never, like I've never done anything that bad.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
But then it's like you have to clean the body, you have to do this like this type of work that you're just not used to. It's like stretching you as a person, right?
Yeah.
So it's like super draining. So like that's like emotionally like it's draining on your emotions. It's taxing. And then you also are very stressed out. That kind of like stress and all that stuff is like a big tool. And if you can, like, whenever you're in those type of situations, if you can put that on God, allow yourself to feel this stress, but put this on God and say, like, God, I know, like, this is meaning something, like, this, you're helping me do this. Like, you have to recognize that God is the one, like, that's keeping you up during your shift. God is the one that's gonna, like, wake you up the next day when you fall asleep for, you know, 11, 13 hours.
Yeah.
Right? He's gonna wake you up, and he's the one, like, dragging you through it, basically. So it's like, when it comes to suffering, like, there's little things and like stresses, like even the little things like a hard test, a hard thing, if you can get in the practice of like giving it to God and working with God and having that trust with God, and then not only that, but thanking God when it's done, because that's something I used to forget how to do. I know you probably like experienced that, especially as a kid. Like you'd be at a kid and you'll be like maybe in 8th grade or like middle school, and you'll be like, okay, I have a test. You'll pray before the test to God. You'll get a good grade. And you'll be like, 8.
You know, that's me. Like that's the thing. That's a fact though. Like we literally think like a lot of times as well. Like we forget. Like I just saw this quote. Like don't forget to thank God for what you pray for. Like and I think I was telling I was even talking to Dean early about this, right? And like we were saying like a lot of times like the life we're living currently, like we prayed for this in the past. Like I think it's crazy to think like, okay, you know what? Like we might have prayed about this. You want to check it? Okay. I mean, it might be your boss. I don't know if you want to take it. Okay.
Do you want to cut it?
Yeah, I'll probably. Let me think. I'm trying to think how I'm gonna set this up.
Okay, talk about D.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's not my boss.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Cut through D when you're talking.
Okay. All right. I'll share this for sure. I know I was talking to Dean, right, and he was telling me like we were talking about how like the life we're living currently is based off of prayer that we prayed in the past, and like a lot of times we really don't realize like, hey, like for example, like you probably pray for a car or stuff like that, right? Like I just got the got a car currently, right? Like,
Yeah.
but like in the past, you probably like, bro, oh my gosh, like I'm so mad. Like, I don't have a car, stuff like that. And now currently, you might be like, bro, I don't want to pay gas. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, bro, we just prayed for this car, you know, like,
Exactly.
like, and even just being grateful in those moments and like realizing like, hey, you know, we're living a life that we just prayed for. And even though again, like, you might be going through the struggle with your job and stuff like that, realizing that this is what you pray for.
I pray for this job.
Exactly, you pray for this job, and like it might be tough, you know, but just getting through that and making the most of that opportunity, because I think a lot of times too, and I was reading Hebrews a couple of days back, right? And the main thing that I was seeing was like I was seeing the same recurring like phrase, like by faith. I started at least like 12 times in the New King James Version. It was like by faith. Like for example, by faith Moses did this. By faith, you know, Jonah did this. All these people did this, right? Like without the fact that they couldn't see it, but they moved by faith regardless of what's going on. And I think a lot of times we want to say, oh God, oh why this? Why am I in this situation? But the real question is, can I trust God to get, like, why don't we trust God to get us out of that situation? Because the matter of fact is, you know, I think when we get caught up in this trying to have like ultra peace and stuff like that, right? I think we got to remember at ultimately, at the end of the day, this is still like the evil world we live in. You know, like this is not heaven. We're not there yet, so we have to continue to suffer. We still have to go through our certain suffering and stuff like that because it's going to be tough. That's what I would say.
Exactly.
I'll say too, I did want to ask you as well. When it comes to just faith, I guess, just faith in the trials, I guess, what's the favorite verse that you feel like have been pushing you through when you go through those type of trials? Like, you know?
Psalms 121 spoke to me this year.
Yeah.
It's like, I will lift up mine eyes to the hills, from which cometh my help coming from the Lord. That whole passage, it's like, it's really like telling, like that drives me, because if I'm being completely honest, like, I could not do a thing without God, because I know like the subconscious stuff He's like helping me through in my mind, and like on the daily and the little things like He'll do for me. Like I won't set my alarm, like, or like my phone will die at night and I have an alarm for like 6 a.m. Right, and I normally will, if I have no alarm, like on a Sunday or something, I wake up at like 11.
Yeah.
So like I'll have an alarm for 6 a.m. my phone will die, and I wake up and it's like 6:05, and I'm looking like, oh shoot, like what happened? Like I charge my phone, I'll look and it's like 6:05. Like
no.
I would never have woken up at that time.
Yeah.
So it's like little things like that. You can just see like, oh, thank you God. Like I feel like if you appreciate the little things, like it'll build your relationship with God, where you can just like see the big things, and in the big things, you know, like if you see how He's working in the little things, which is easy, it's easy to miss. Like I miss it a lot, but sometimes I'll catch it. And if you can keep catching those moments that He does for you, like you'll keep catching the bigger ones. And when it comes to like hard problems, then you just have the faith already to like know that even though it's really tough right now and you're gonna have to go through those emotions and go through the stresses of it, like, you know, long term you're gonna look back on this and be like, God was with me even then.
Yeah, exactly. And I know for me too, right? Like, especially because so obviously, like I said, my second semester I came back after my surgeries, and you know, I got healed and I was able to play basketball, right? But what we did was we did 6 a.m. practices only, because since we have two teams, like the main team, like the girls in the main team, they would practice in the afternoon, and then so it'd be like 4 to 6 girls and 6 to 8 main team, and then 8 to 11 would be acro. So we had no time to practice, so we had to practice in the morning, right? And there'd be a lot of times, right, like 6 a.m., right? It's like 5:50, right? And I'd be like, oh gosh, like I was stressing to get ready, right? I check my phone, practice is canceled, and I'm like, that's God, you know, like, or it's like, all right, I get there, coach is already late, like that's God, you know. It's like certain things like that. It's like, and I think for like mainly for me, like a lot of times, like I've been able to reflect more on what God is doing as I'm getting older. Like really realize like, yo, that's really God. That's been big for me. And I think too, another thing I wanted to point as far as I feel like for me that's been helping me with going through suffering and redemption is what I'm hearing every single day. The music that I'm listening to, the people that I'm talking to, like the community that you have, I feel like it's very important as far as when you go on your journey to have those types of people in your life. Because I think too, right, like I feel like if you're always listening to negative things, like even the passage you said, Psalms 121, like that's literally a song, I'm pretty sure, right? Like, and even just hearing that, right, it's like you're literally speaking those types of things on your life. You're putting it, like you're putting those types of things on your life. It's important to have those types of things because it's another form of worship and a way to connect with God and to get to know Him, because it's going to be important, again, like when you're going through these trials. If you're just putting yourself with negative thoughts, you're not going to get anywhere. But when you're really trying to, like, have a positive mentality, whether you're going to slump with your job, or like for me, having a slump, basketball wise, or even just anything that's going on, like it's going to be important to have those types of things with you, and just keeping it there. I'm gonna say just keeping you sane, I would say. So that's good for sure. The next thing I did want to talk to you about, though, of course, we're both Capitol Hill members. Shout out to Capitol Hill, the best church. The best church. How do you feel like growing up at Capitol Hill shaped you up for the real world today?
I feel like Capitol Hill is a kind of church, like, I'm very grateful that I grew up in Capitol Hill. Because, like, one, we have, like, a lot of our friends here, our people our age, and, like, all the village around us, like, all the adults that are, like, family to us.
Yeah.
But when you grow up in it, like, you don't realize, like, it isn't normal.
Facts.
Like, when I go over to other, like...
Yeah, we go to other churches, right?
Other churches.
Yeah.
Or, like, I talk to my other close friends that I made, like, at Andrews and stuff like that, like... I'm talking about their church life. I'm talking about my church life. I'm like, oh yeah, auntie this did this, auntie this did this, or we had these people over, and they'll just not like understand completely that like that's just how it is. Like a lot of communities do have it, but a lot of communities don't. Yeah. Especially when like it's just not as like common as I thought it was.
Yeah.
And another thing about this church, like I know because we always be hearing these like sermons. I remember as a kid and like teenager about. Like, everyone's always talking at church about, don't judge these people, don't be judgmental, don't do this. And like, as a church, we need to not be judgmental.
Facts.
So I've been thinking, like Capitol Hill has its issues for sure.
Yeah,
but when it comes to that, like, I was like, oh, I don't think our church is that like, judgmental. Like, why are they always pressing this? Like, why are, like, people always pressuring about churches not being judgmental? And then when you go out, you realize churches are so judgmental.
Yeah.
This church, like, I could walk in any sort of way. Like, people walk in this church any sort of way.
Come as you are, yeah.
Come as you are. Or, like, they'll just, like, we're never going to be judgy. And the things that I've heard, like, other churches, like, will judge you on.
Yeah.
Like, a single mom will bring in, or, like, a woman will come in pregnant, but her husband may be at home.
Yeah.
And she'll tell us about, oh, this church judged me. Like, they did not want to, like, talk to me. They, like, I heard people were talking about me afterwards. I'm like, what? Like, our
it's
church
kind of crazy. Like, we would never do that. I'm about to say.
Like, we wouldn't even, like, that wouldn't even come to our mind.
Exactly.
Because I feel like as Christians, like, the thing about our church is, like, we're all Christians.
Yeah.
We all are very connected to, like, everyone. Like, in the world. Like, we were either, a lot of us are converted Christians, or, like, they have family members, they have people, like, who like, are not Christians.
Facts.
So it's like we're really connected to like how people live on the outside, and we don't judge them for it because we know our own issues.
Yeah.
So like when people come in, like we are not judging for them for it, and we're not even thinking about, oh, this is sin. We're just happy people come in.
Exactly.
And I didn't even realize like at other churches that's not the mindset at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's a fact there too. Like I think like even just like I was talking to James about this too, right? Like I feel like of course I feel like it might. Compared to before COVID and stuff like that, obviously the pandemic has changed everything. Just experiencing like even though like obviously we go here almost every Sabbath, right? Like this compared to other churches, and I'm realizing like wow, like we actually have like we were actually one of the best churches here, like in the DMV, and it's like just seeing the things that we have, it's like we have a good church community. We do have some young people. Of course, a lot of people went to college, but like we still have a lot of things going on here. And there's so much things that we do. It's like, wow, we've really been one of the best churches. Like we're not judgmental, like you were saying. Like we're like I think even like one of our slogans, like kindness is intentional. Like we're intentional with how we move. We're trying to get everyone here, and it's like we're not really like looking for. I guess like we're not looking for like you're doing this, you're doing that. Like we just want to get you here in the first place, and that's the most important thing. Like even I was talking to my dad about this too, right? Like they so he does Bible studies on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I realized right like they don't like to like talk about like for example like because he's an elder, right? They don't like the people that's there because some people don't go to this church, right? They have people from like all around the world, like Canada and stuff like that, and he doesn't like using like Elder Raphael or something like that. Like he wants everyone to be connected in a certain way, and then also like they don't talk about Capitol Hill like in general, like they not necessarily like they don't talk about Capitol Hill, but they kind of like be kind of open for everyone, because like there's different Christians in different areas and stuff like that, like different beliefs, and like ultimately, like I said too, right? Like, you know,
like selling the Bible without selling specifically like doctrines of 7-day Adventist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're selling the Bible first. Like they're not pushing. Exactly. That's not the most important thing. It's relationship and not religion. I was just talking about this to someone yesterday, and I think that's the most important thing. You know, especially when we get somebody new who's interested in God. I think that's the first thing we have to sell. You know, after a while, maybe we could tell them, hey, you know, you may want to consider this, consider that. But ultimately, the relationship with God is the most important. Pushing that, and I feel like just growing up at Capitol Hill, that's what I saw a lot. Like we weren't really judgmental. We weren't pushing people to do certain things. Like we took them. We was like, come as you are. We took them in. And like I've seen so many people that we've had like throughout the years come in, and they're doing big things in the church and stuff like that. Like, you know, deaconesses, having like, you know, leadership roles and any young adult, like AYM, all those things. And it's just inspiring to see that what we're doing is like we started small and we're building up from there. I think that was important for sure. And then like you were saying, like the church family, like, you know, obviously we did continuing together. That was big. Just like the community of people that was there helping us throughout our journey, like just growing. Yeah. It was important. And I think it's just a testimony to what God can do with the right people in their life, for sure. And I think even to another thing, and I was thinking about this too, because I think you mentioned something about your EMT work, like AYM was something big as well. Of course, like it's not as big as we do it now, but like just even stuff like that, like I feel like that was big growing up at Capitol Hill, for sure. Like just being able to connect as youth after church, being able to have real conversations, stuff like that. Blacks and Wax, that was a good experience.
Yeah.
Talking about Blacks and Wax, that's crazy.
That was actually like, it's something insane that we do, but honestly, like now that we grow older and a lot of Black history is being taught, they'll talk about all these people, unique, like obscure people. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. Like they were next to me, like
they were next to you.
Or I was playing that character for like a Blacks and Wax type of thing that we did for like Black History Month.
Who's your favorite character to play?
I don't actually remember. Like I had too many.
I
don't remember. Like
you did like almost every year, was it?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but honestly, I'm happy like they gave us that experience because it really connected us to our roots. Like we need to know where we came from, and the fact that there was so many people in the church too that were like freedom riders, and they were also like at the sit-ins. Like these like people were on the March on Washington. Like a lot of like the people in our church will talk about their experiences, and it will really show you like that's not that long ago.
No, but I say it really isn't.
And people try to make it seem like it's a while ago, but like if the people who are freedom riding and the people who had to march around Washington are still alive and still talking to us about their experience, the people who were opposing them are also still alive.
No, but I say they're still alive, and they're still
and
definitely
they're
doing their
still
work.
in Congress. Like the people who are, that's the age of the people in Congress. Like
exactly.
We're not, like it's actually insane.
But I say, and that was actually a big thing that we did at our church, and I think like, you know, it was a thing that we did almost every year or stuff like that. Even we did it at TAPS one time too, right? And it was a great experience for sure because, you know, obviously again, like, you know, it was fun. Like I think my favorite character I probably said I did a Colin Kaepernick. That one was funny. I got a lot of trolls for that one. That one was a good one. I think that was good. I played it. That was a good one. And I think even just like I said, like knowing what he stands for now, and like just seeing what he does, what he's going to speak about and talk about. It's like I'm glad that I was able to experience that and actually being able to play him. Like it was just big because it's important to talk about these characters. Like you said, like it's important to know where we came from. It's important to know that this is what's going on in our lives. And yeah, like I think that's been big. I'll say as well, Pathfinders as well. I think when you did Pathfinders, I didn't do Pathfinders, but then when I did Pathfinders, you didn't do it. Yeah. So how was your experience doing Pathfinders as well? 'Cause I think that was big for me as well.
Like a shift in like leaders at different times.
Yeah.
It was interesting though. Like it was good to just be like I was the youngest one there, and I feel like for a majority of like growing up at Capitol Hill, I feel like I was always the youngest.
Yeah.
But like it's like a good experience. You have people to look up to, little like things to come on Sunday. Like it was interesting. Like did I love it? No.
Yeah, no, we can be honest.
But like it was something to do, and it was like something like to do at a church with like other like Adventists with us and like our friends. It kind of built us up, like helped us grow closer. It was cool.
Did you go to any camporees? 2014, you didn't go?
No, I did not go. I did not go.
I say, because Gillette, I know Gillette just happened. I think that's another thing I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of things about that.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, I heard it was raining. I heard it was, I was about to say, it was rough. But I think, I was talking to one of my friends about it, right? Because he went on Wednesday. And, they went, like, I think it was that Sunday to Sunday. They went on Wednesday. And then they left on Saturday, right? But a lot of people, like, Saturday, I think maybe Saturday or Sunday. But, like, a lot of people left on, like, Friday. And what they were telling me, right, like, the weather was bad. Like the first couple of days, right? And then everyone started leaving, right? The weather got better, and like there was like a huge rainbow. And like that same friend I was talking to, she was telling me like her mom was saying they didn't believe the promise, and I was like, wow. I was like, oh, cause that was literally like the theme of it. I was like, that was actually interesting. Like it was funny, but it's true. Like they didn't believe the promise because like it literally got better at the end. But I know I was thinking about going, but I ended up not going. I know. For sure, Camp Route 2019 was good, for sure. But yeah, so do you feel, and you were the youngest there for the most part, did you feel like I guess, now thinking about it, oh yeah, you were like, it was really just you, low key.
Yeah, it was just me, I was young, but it was like a short time, if I'm being honest.
I'm about to say, because I feel like too, like, Andrew was Andrew at Pathfinders there?
I don't remember.
I'm about to say, because like, I feel like, I think too is like, even though we were the same age, same grade, like I was way less immature. I was more immature.
You were just like hanging with your brother.
I'm about to say, I used to hang down, you used to hang up.
Yeah,
that's what I did.
When
like,
I be with my sister, you hang with your brother.
I'm about to say, and then like once I tried hanging up, it was kind of weird. Like it was like, bro, what are you doing? Like you just like all you do is run around the church. So, like it's just kind of weird. I'm about to say, but I mean, obviously it's different now because like, yeah, but I know for sure. Like I feel like. And going back to the main point though, I feel like growing up at Calvin was definitely special, for sure. Another thing I did want to talk to you about as we close out, like as far as again, of course, like we're both at Adventist college, right? And you know, I think a big thing that we have to deal with as we get older is even now currently is being in the world versus being of the world. Like obviously we have more freedom going on. You know, I think that comes with like certain struggles, certain suffering. Where do you feel like that's been? How do you feel like that journey has been with you as far as like, trying to find that balance between? Well, no, not even a balance. Trying to figure out like, okay, how do I be in the world instead of being of the world?
Yeah, I feel like as Adventists, growing up in like Christian education, like something that really does to someone is it really shelters them.
Facts.
And it protects them from a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But if we're being honest, like the people I've met at Andrews are like 10 times more sheltered than I am.
Yeah.
Like for me, when I talk to people at my job, like it doesn't matter what job I had, like whether it's like at Cold Stone or it's like with the teenagers there, or like at Six Flags, like as a medic over there. Like the teenagers I be hanging out with, the young adults and stuff, I'm like friends with them. We get close. And then in general, all my like non-Christian friends, like I still have.
Yeah.
But I realized like there is like a good amount of people who grow up this way and then they're like super sheltered.
Yeah.
And they don't have any contact with non-Christians.
Exactly.
Right? And it's like it's an interesting approach to life. But if we're gonna be Christians, one, we have to be in the world, not of the world.
Yeah.
But in order to go out and show Christ, we have to be in the world.
Like we have to have a balance. Yeah, like
we have to have a balance. But what I think the main thing we have to do is like we have to know ourselves, know our morals.
Yeah.
But don't be swayed. But then be willing to talk to other people and be with other people.
Yeah.
Like if you read the Bible and read like Jesus or read Paul.
Yeah.
Like they have that attitude of, we're gonna go hang out with the sinners.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna go have lunch with them, eat with them, chill with them, have fun with them.
Yeah.
And then talk to them.
Exactly.
Because if you just go and you preach, and the people who's gonna come out, right, are the people who either like that's a good way to do it too. Because people like might be called by the Holy Spirit to come hear you. But sometimes you like the best way to minister in a way like that is easy to minister is like just by talking to people like that you're close with, or talking to people who are like you're friends with. Like they can just see how you live, see how you, or like you know. And once you get closer, they'll ask more questions.
Yeah.
And they'll ask like, okay, how do you deal with this? Like we see like you are really really driven here. you are very calm here. We've never seen you like be rude to anybody.
Facts.
And why is that? And you would be like, yeah, you know I'm a Christian, and so
And that's an opportunity that comes apart.
Yeah, it's like, but like, they don't want to get close to people that they can't like understand.
Yeah.
Like we don't
You
want to
just
come
start
off as
out,
judgmental and like
Yeah.
distant. We want to be able to like be really close. Like it's fine to be close to people who aren't Christian.
Yeah.
It's completely fine to be close to these people as long as you know your values and you're not compromising on your values. It's okay to go eat dinner with them. It's okay to go hang out with them. Like if they're doing something that's not Christian, that doesn't mean you need to stop hanging out with them, because Jesus was talking to people in their sin. Saul said he's gonna go like in the areas where they're, you know, eating idol worshipped food.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's okay with me because I know where I am. If it's gonna cause someone to stumble, then I won't do it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna do like what I need to do, and he's the one who like brought so many people to Christ. So it's
Exactly.
like that's a good way to approach it. Like to be in the world, we need to minister in the world. We need
Exactly,
to be in
we
the world.
do.
But to not be of the world, meaning like the attitude we have, right, should be completely different.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be like complaining. We shouldn't be like just like down and depressed, because then is it like if they're like, why would I want to be a Christian?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you get depressed. Yeah, you get emotional and stuff, and that's like your own time, and you need to figure that out. And it's like a lot of times like we'll all have emotional struggles, but it's the attitude that we like have on a daily. Like little things, like we're not like if we're like messed up about something, like a little disappointment, we can't go out and act like everybody else. Like if we have a change in mindset, then that's really how we can minister, because that's how people can be like, oh, why do you have that mindset?
Exactly. You have a more grateful mindset. Like if there's someone that you have, you know, as a Christian, like always, like, you know, as a non-Christian, it's always being negative. It's like I think once you give them that different like positive perspective, like oh yeah, that's a fact. And I think what I was gonna say was, I know for me, like, or no, I'll say for like I watch my brother, right? For example, like he plays AAU, right? And the team that he plays for, they allow him to not play on the Sabbath, right? And like for him, right, he talks to them and stuff like that. He's like obviously, you know, big contributor to the team, makes a big impact, and he's a positive guy. And like when he hangs out with them, he's cool vibes, right? And then once they realize, okay, like, oh, he's just playing the Sabbath, then that's an opportunity for him, like when they ask him, oh, why don't you play the Sabbath and stuff like that, then he lets them know what it is. And then that's when the relationship starts from there, right? But like he started off with them like just being a good teammate, giving them good energy, like being positive off the court, on the court. And then from there, when they finally started realizing, all right, you know, he's so positive, oh, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, you know, then that gave him an opportunity to actually minister to them. And I think that's important too, because I know for me for sure, right, like I definitely want to figure out, it's getting even harder, right? But I definitely want to figure out, like, especially when like, you know, God willing, I get the opportunity to have my own kids, like just showing them the balance between, like, you know, like the sheltered side, like the Adventist side, and the real world. Because even as I'm growing up now, like I just went to like to a different school. I went to Taos for a weekend, right? And it's like just seeing how like certain things that are going over there. It's like, wow, this is the real world. Like it's crazy. Like there's so much things that we don't get to experience in the Adventist community. And of course, like it has its benefits, right? But and of course, you don't want to get caught up in the real world again, because then, kind of like you said, like, you know, knowing who you are, and you might be able to, like, you might get caught up in like the things that they have to offer, you know, that seem cool, but in reality it really isn't. Right. And I think that's important for sure. Just knowing, okay, hey, like, I know how to operate, I know who I am, you know, and I'm able to operate in the real world at the same time, you know, because I know what goes on, I know how certain things operate, and I think that's important for sure, because like you said, like even like if you can't operate like in the real world, you won't know how to take certain things, right? For example, like again, like there's people that say things that are tough, like they say things that like aren't necessarily nice, stuff like that. They may talk to you in a certain way, right? And if you don't know how to handle that, like in the real world, like of course, like obviously you should know who you are, right? But at the same time, you have to know how to handle that in the real world, you know, because that's what it is. And I would say too, I think another thing as far as going back to being in the world and being of the world, I feel like a lot of times too, we can do a better job though, as Christians though. I feel like a lot of times, I think of course, right, like we know who we are at times, but I feel like a lot of times we're like, at least I've seen it recently more at WAU though, but I feel like a lot of times though, and I wanted to ask you this too, like, now that you're more free, how do you feel like being in the world and versus being of the world has been for you? Do you feel like it's been harder? Do you feel like it's been like? Do you feel like now that you're free, like, okay, you know what, I can do this, I can do that. Like, how do you feel like this experience been for you?
I think one of the most important things, like going to Adventist school will really help with this, but you can find it at any big university. If it's small and it's not Christian, you know, you might not have like as many opportunities, but finding the people who have the same values as you.
Yeah.
Like finding, like if you're at a big university, I know my girls who go to other, like Howard, they have Christian friends, like that's their close friends, and like they'll come to church, right?
Yeah.
With them, like they'll find an Adventist friend at their college, which is super cool, but like for us, it's all around. But you know, there's always different types of people. Like they might be grown up Adventists, but they're not really Christian.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those, and there's others who like finding the people who have the same values as you.
Yeah.
To be your close friends. That's like a good way, honestly, to hold on to what you believe in. Because if you're with people who don't have your values, you're obviously, it's either gonna be hard because you're not gonna be able to hang out with them when they're doing certain things, or you're not gonna be able to like hold on to your own values, right? And you're just gonna want to hang out with them and want to do what they do, right? And it's like you're losing yourself a little bit. So it's easier if you find people who connect like with you. That's like the best way to meet, because you can get deep with them, you can talk to them. Like your closest friends should have your same values.
Yeah, facts.
It's like the best way because you can talk about anything with them.
But like you're gonna be with them 100% of the time. Like ultimately, like you were saying, right? Like even though again, like Jesus did hang with sinners, right? Those weren't his main friends. Like you know, like that's the main thing. Of course, like you don't want to be hanging out with people like 100% of the time and they don't align with you. You know, of course, they're gonna be like, hey, we're about to go do this, we're about to do that. You know, like. Or you're kind of feeling left out. Like it's important to have, again, like it's important to be able to have those relationships, right? And I think this is just a matter of course, the maintenance is not that high, you know, versus like in like the people that I know who I align with, they're gonna be in my life the majority of my time.
Exactly.
And I think that's important for sure. As we end this off, I do have some friendly questions that we got from some of Maymay's friends. This is gonna be interesting. I think you'll like it. We got a couple. We got a couple. Let's go here. All right. So first we got Caleb. This is gonna be good. He actually gave me a couple. He said you guys went to the beach, right? I'm not sure if this was at Andrews, but he was saying it went empty. You guys went to the beach and gas went low, and he was telling me about, and like I think
that's true. And my sister forgot to fill up the gas.
Yeah, she forgot to fill the gas.
Yes.
What happened?
Bro, she's an interesting character.
She's an interesting character.
She's the type of person who will always. She used to do this thing, like me and my sister share a car. So she used to do this thing where she'll like drive and like she'll park the car and she'll be done with it and she'll leave it for me and I get in and I turn it on. It's like 4 miles.
Oh no.
Yeah. So it's like, oh my gosh, it used to irk me. And so then I used to like I used to do it back to her. Like, I'm sorry. I used to like, it's getting low, but it's 16 miles. Yeah, I got her.
You're 16 miles. So
she has to fill it up because like I'd be filling it up like all the time.
You fill it up.
So I'd be like, I'm not filling it up anymore. I'm gonna park it. I'm not filling it up.
Okay.
You know, so like 16 miles.
16
and I'll
miles.
come back expecting it to be full because she can't be driving anywhere when it's that low.
It'll
be like 2 miles.
No.
I'm like, what is
That's
she doing?
trolling. That's trolling.
And so she's the type to like always be, I don't know, like one time she was driving, it was like a few of our friends, like, and she was driving us to the beach. And I remember she was driving. She started the car, was driving somewhere. She didn't check the gas. We're on the highway, and the thing about Michigan, Marion Springs, it's actually annoying. It's like there could be an exit like once, and if you miss that, the next exit's like 12 miles away.
Oh no!
Like that, right? So we're driving. She's like, "Oh, the thing says 6 miles. The next exit's probably like 11 miles." We're like, "What are you doing, Katie? Like you didn't check it when you turned on the car like everyone else." But like yeah. So then she was like, "Well, I don't know what you want me to do." So we just end up driving the car until the next exit and trying to find a gas station there. But the thing about, luckily our car has like, it tells you it's 6 miles left, but it really has like maybe 15 miles in the empty. Right?
Empty, okay.
So luckily we got.
Luckily I made it through. That's hilarious. I'm gonna say Nah, I know for sure. I gotta start doing that with my brother too, cause he's about to start driving. Like I already know, like I gotta like deal with gas. Like I'm like, oh gosh, like I'm like, bro, like we can't. I already told him I was like, bro, like all right, you know what, like you probably have a harder time, I guess, paying for gas because he's at school. At least I have more flexibility than him, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm like, bro, like all right, we can't do this gas thing, bro. Like I don't want to get played, bro. Like that's the main thing. So I'm like. I have no problem like taking him in this way and stuff like that. So, but I know it's probably crazier for you guys at Andrews. But I say, especially because you have your shifts. Like,
yeah, no, oh my gosh.
Did she drop you off when you have your shift, or like how does it work?
Just drive with the car.
You'll drive.
At night, what's she doing? You know.
Oh, word. What is she doing? You know,
it was like a school night or something.
School night. Okay, so she's just chilling. Okay. All right. The next question I had. Well, I think I asked you off camera, and she didn't necessarily give me a question, but it's from Taylor, and she asked me, how did I get you to do it? So I don't know, what was that conversation with y'all? Because we had our conversation at church last week.
That's very true.
So
you've been asking me for a bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
oh yeah, I did ask you for. I fought for her, guys. Okay, I fought to get her on here. Okay.
And I was like, no, because I don't love doing like the idea of doing a podcast.
The idea sounds crazy.
But like, if I'm being honest, like I keep like talking to God every day and stuff like that, and you know, part of it is like using God, and it's like it's been like He's just been telling me like, all right, you keep saying no though to everything. And I remember like I was at church and like I was talking to you about the podcast, and you said no, and then I was like, God, if you like make Him ask me one more time, I'll say yes. And you asked me the other time, I said no. So it was my fault, like, but I realized like that was a mistake. So that's what made me do it. I was like, okay, God basically forcing me.
Okay, word. Did you talk to her about it?
Today, no.
No, what I say. So she just.
She doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, so she just assumed that you didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I think so.
What I say? That's hilarious. All right. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. No, at least you didn't have one. All right. That's pretty much it. Obviously, you're going back Sunday, so we will be missed. I'm glad we got this out the way. But this is a good episode. What do you think? This is a good episode. I'm gonna say I'm excited. Make sure you guys tune in tonight. I think this is technically they're probably gonna see this. Actually, now I'm thinking about it.
Just rewatch the tapes. Yeah.
I'm about to say because they're gonna. Yeah. Whenever you see this, definitely. Make sure if you haven't, make sure to watch Anchored. The conference is going on right now. Shout out to Pastor Stanley. He's working on it right downstairs as we speak. Make sure everything's going well. Be sure to buy the merch. Be sure to tune into everything that's going on. Even during the Joy, I think it's September, I think. That was good. That was good for sure. So definitely tune into that. And thank you guys again for watching episode 2 of The Journeyman. We're excited. We're thankful. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the post notification bell. Tune in to everything that's going on. We're excited. We're thankful, and we're proud to be doing this. So thank you guys again, and peace out.